Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I got the top 5 biggest mistakes you're making in Cold War. So tip number one is, or mistake number one that you're making is when you're in a gunfight, no matter what type of gunfight it is, close, long distance, whatever, make sure you're strafing back and forth when you're in that gunfight. Because for some reason in this game, when you're not strafing in the middle of your gunfight, you don't get the maximum amount of aim assist you can possibly get. So long story short, just make sure you strafe back and forth while you're shooting the person in any gunfight. Tip number two is how to run the fastest in this game. So you see this in the CDL match all the time where pro players are running like this, and then every couple seconds you'll see them stop real quick. So basically what this does is when you're running and you stop for a second and then you start running again, you gain momentum and you actually run faster over a farther distance doing this technique. You see every single pro doing this because they've found out that this is actually the fastest way to get to places in the game. So yeah, honestly, and make sure you have a knife or a pistol in your hands when you're doing this, because with a knife and pistol, you are the fastest you can be. So yeah, just basically just run like this around the map for now, I guess. Unless you know you're near enemies, then always have your gun out. Tip number three, you want to go to the controller settings and scroll all the way down to trigger dead zone sensitivity. And as you can see, I have mine at 13. I believe this is the default. And basically what this is this actually works for your shooting button. So basically for your shooting trigger, you want to have this at the lowest because it just makes sense. Basically, the higher you have it, the more harder and like more deeper you have to press your trigger in order for it to shoot. But the lower you have your trigger dead zone sensitivity, the lighter you have to press on that trigger in order for your weapon to shoot. So therefore, you'll have faster reaction times when it comes to pulling the trigger. You'll be able to shoot way faster compared to if you have it at like the max, which is like 99. So it just makes sense. All the pros are doing this now with this new setting. So basically just make sure to put it at the lowest as possible because it just makes sense. Tip number four is actually in the controller settings as well. It's actually like 2 or 3 ticks above the dead zone sensitivity one. So basically it's the left stick maximum input threshold. Now obviously a couple months ago when the game was new, everyone said to keep it at 99, but now that the pros are deep into the meta and they know everything really in detail, what they found out is the best threshold to have the left stick input at is actually 60. Anything lower is too much and your character starts to move on its own. And anything higher than 60 is a little bit too much. So basically what I'm trying to say is when you want your player to move, you obviously want your player to move as fast as possible with the least amount of movement in your left joystick. So basically, the higher you have this, the more you have to move your joystick in order for your player to move. But the lower you have it, the less you have to move your joystick in order for your player to move. So it just makes sense to have it lower. But anything lower than 60 is usually a bit too much, and then your player starts moving on its own, even if you're not touching the joystick. But then again, it depends on your controller and how worn out your joystick is. So basically experiment with it and just try to bring it down as much as you can without your player moving alone on its own. The last tip I have for you guys is sliding and why it's so bad in this game. So first things first, when you're sliding during your route, you're gonna go slower. If you're sliding during your rush route somewhere, you're gonna be slower than compared to if you were just running or doing the stop go technique. So basically, if you're trying to get somewhere as quick as possible, do not slide at all. All right. And second thing, when you're sliding, you can hear someone slide from across the map. It is so ridiculously loud. Do not slide, especially if you're trying to be quiet. Do not slide. It is the worst thing to do. Do not slide. And lastly, just so we can make this clear, obviously there's some situations where sliding is good. For example, if you want to get behind a head glitch or if you're approaching a head glitch, of course you should slide to the head glitch. That just makes sense, right? It's called head glitching. When you're gonna go up to a head glitch, definitely slide up to it, all right? Or if you're gonna like slide cancel around a corner and chow someone, that's definitely good. That's something you should do. Okay, that makes sense. But when it comes to getting somewhere as quick as possible, do not slide at all. Or when it comes to being quiet, do not slide at all. The only time you should slide is approaching a head glitch, or when you're gonna slide cancel around a corner or something and chow someone, or Lastly, when you're G sliding off a ledge, just like that. For example, obviously, if you're gonna G slide, that's gonna make you go faster. Not just sliding normally. The only time you should slide is when you're gonna slide off of a corner or like a ledge or something like that, and you're gonna G slide. That's when it makes sense to slide. Those are the only times you should slide in this game. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you aren't already. Share the channel with your friends and teammates. I post daily helpful Call of Duty content on my channel. Check out the link in the description below for my Twitch, Discord, and sponsor. Use code PRAB for 10% off any purchase. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.